Thomas Tuchel has finally brought out the much-awaited England World Cup squad for this World Cup coming up in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And it is an interesting squad. In fact, the talking point is everywhere around the squad. But I must give kudos to the coach for being bold with his squad. And so, in the video today, we shall be dissecting the England World Cup squad. It has brought up a lot of reactions, mixed reactions, all over the department of that particular team. But for me, personally, I think it's a decent, good squad. Of course, there's some omission in that team that some fans or some club fans think some players should be there, some players should not be there. That is the beauty of the beautiful game of football that we love so much. But I think Thomas Tuchel has done a very bold squad. He has shown that, yes, this is a squad. This is a team that he believes can bring the World Cup back home to England. So let's look at the squad. From the goalkeeping, guys, the surprise is the fact that there's no Nick Pope in that team. There's no Ramsdale in that particular team. The three goalkeepers that Thomas Tuchel has gone with Jordan Pickford, who is going to be arguably the number one. You have Dean Anderson of Crystal Palace and James Trafford of Man City, the number two of Man City. And I think personally this is a decent one. Nick Pope has been out of sort injury-wise and all of that. And Ramsdale, it will be difficult for Ramsdale to get into this World Cup squad now. That was why personally I was thinking Ramsdale should have stayed at Arsenal. Because if he had stayed at Arsenal, for instance, even as a number two to Raya, he would have made the squad easily. And he would have taken the place of course, James Trafford in that particular team. So let's go to the defense. We have Reece James, Tino, Livramento, Nico Riley, Jed Spence, Ezri Konsa, McGay, John Stone, Jared Kwanzaa, and of course Dan Burn. A very interesting defense. And the omissions, we have Maguire and of course Fikayo Tomori. And one would have said maybe an experienced Maguire should have been in that team. When you look at the kind of run United have had in the second half of the season. But the coach has taken a look at the team deeply and the kind of defense he wants to have. And despite the struggle of Spence has made the squad. I think Thomas Tuchel personally loves his style of play. Another thing fans or pundits or we that follow football, even journalists, sports journalists must understand with a coach and the kind of team, the selection he makes is the fact that everybody have got preference for the way they see their football. We all have the way we see football, we perceive football. The way I perceive football is not the way you perceive football. Same thing for these coaches. So I think that has worked for Spence to be in this squad. Thomas Tuchel is a big fan of the Spurs defender and is very versatile. Can play as a left back, can play as a right back. So I think that's why he made the squad. It's no brainer that John Stone, yes, would have dropped John Stone for Maguire? I don't think so. The experience and all of that. So I think I'm comfortable with that defense. So let's go to the midfield. That is very interesting. The midfielders that Thomas has taken to the World Cup. Speak for the World Cup. We have of course no brainer Declan Rice, the new Premier League champions, Elliot Anderson, Jordan Anderson, Kobe Mainoo, Jude Bellingham, Morgan Rowe, Rogers Eberechi Eze. And the omission and the talking point omission for many fans, we have of course Cole Palmer, Phil Foden. These are two individuals that many thought their World Cup jersey has been hanged in the England dressing room for a long time. But Thomas Tuchel have come out to let us know that yes, he don't deserve to be in this World Cup. Cole Palmer. And in as much as I have a bit soft spot for Cole Palmer, I think it should have been in this squad. Because when I look at all the midfielders that Thomas Tuchel has gone with, there's no natural number 10 non-natural creator in that midfield. So Kopama brings that dynamism, the different kind of profile. But I think what worked against Palmer has been one is personal form, which has been which was further depleted by the way Chelsea has been shambolic this season. And so that worked against Cole Palmer. Imagine, despite not being in good form, and the Chelsea finished in the top 2 or top 3, Palmer would have been in this squad. But altogether, there's nothing that Thomas Tuchel can hold to give an excuse for Palmer to be on this squad, which I totally understand. Phil Foden also is a bit similar to Palmer because he can play as a 10, but personally I don't see him as a good 10. He's an 8, play behind the striker. So, but he has not been in form. He's not a starter for City, despite winning 2 trophies with City, the FA Cup and the League Cup. It has not been his season, for this season. So, and when you look at the like for like players to Phil Foden, what it brings to the England squad, that's what Morgan Rogers brings to the squad also. A typical number 8 that plays behind the striker, and has been in good form. They just won the Europa League with Aston Villa. Eberechi Eze just won the league with Arsenal. Good form for Arsenal. You can't drop Eberechi Eze for Phil Foden. So I understand. Jude Bellingham also. Real Madrid has not been Madrid this season, but I think he's got a clout more than a Phil Foden and a Cole Palmer. So that's how I made the squad. And let's look at the attackers, guys. Bukayo Saka, Noni Madueke, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Gordon, Ivan Toney, Harry Kane, and Oli Watkins. At the talking point here is Ivan Toney, and even some people are talking about Noni Madueke. I will come to Noni Madueke. Ivan Toney, very decent in Saudi Arabia, maybe because an average English fan is not watching the Saudi League, but Thomas Tuchel sees everywhere. He's scouting his players everywhere. He has been decent in the Saudi League, scoring good goals, and a different kind of profile to Harry Kane. And so I think Thomas Tuchel just make it an inclusive list for people to understand that no matter what you're playing in the world, if you are good enough, you will make my squad. And that is a statement Thomas Tuchel has made there. That was how Jared Kwanzaa, who is playing for Leverkusen, also made the list in defense. Has been very decent for Leverkusen after leaving Liverpool. I'm talking about Noni Madueke. In fact, I've heard some fans saying, why drop Kopama for Noni Madueke? Noni Madueke did not make the squad because Kopama was dropped. 2 different things. They play different wings. Noni is a winger, and of course, Noni is basking in euphoria of just helping Arsenal to win the league, and he might even also win the Champions League. And he played a pivotal role in the Arsenal team. All the weeks Bukayo Saka was injured, it was Noni that was deputizing, and he did that decently. And so there's no brainer that Noni Madueke will be in this squad. So for me, that is England squad. Decent one. Wishing Thomas Tuchel the very best, but I think I'm comfortable with that squad. And I think they will do well at the World Cup, the England team.